Welcome to lesson 30. It's called the waiting game. Spice up your weight loss journey. Now, when you're losing weight and you have a lot of weight to lose, it can be so boring. And you think, what am I going to do to get through this time? Maybe you have a whole year. Maybe you have a year and a half. Maybe you have 2 years before you're going to lose the weight, before you're going to reach that goal date. And so what are you going to do in the meantime? So I started collecting instruments. I had a guitar already. I had learned how to play back when I was in high school. And I don't play very well, but I can accompany myself a little bit. And learning a new instrument is an option for what you can do in the meantime. I started collecting instruments. I found an online auction. I have a friend who likes to repair instruments, so he would repair ones that I would get, the mini banjo and the little guitar, and it was fun. And when I was going to this Irish music group, I was able to bring some of the instruments with me. I'm trying to learn the Irish whistle. That's a little bit tedious, but I'm getting there. And so learning a new instrument is one option for when you are waiting for your body to use up these extra stored meals. What are we going to do in the meantime while we wait for our body to use up the stored fat? You can get a piece of paper out and you can start listing things that you would like to do. You will have more time when you're not thinking about snacking, when you're not buying snacks, when you're not actually snacking. You're going to have more time. When you're waiting for something to happen, you have to fill in the time. You have to fill up your mind, fill up your time with other things so that you don't mull over it and get depressed that everything is taking longer. If you've had a baby and you've had to be pregnant for 9 months, it's a long time. And you think, how am I going to get through this? And somehow you push through, you wait it out. And so it's a waiting game. And weight loss for me, I found when I understood that this is going to take some time and that I can get bored, and I didn't like being bored, so what am I going to do in the meantime? So get a piece of paper out and jot some things down. I've given you some ideas in the previous lessons for what to do when you're not wanting to snack, and that's a very small little window of time, 10 minutes, 15 minutes. When you are normally used to snacking, what are you going to do as a snack alternative? This is a bigger list. These are things that you might want to accomplish in a year. I don't recommend starting a huge goal, a huge project, but maybe it could just be learning an instrument, putting 20 hours into something, and then getting good enough, play with a group of musicians. Or maybe it's art class that you wanted to take. Maybe you always wanted to take pottery. Do something in the meantime to help you get through this. And when you do know that end date, and you can see, okay, well, this is almost like school. You knew that you had to go through the semesters of school. You knew you had to take each lesson at a time. And you knew at the end there would be something to reward you. So if you see it this way also, that is, what are you going to do in the meantime? So when you're going through school, you have a lot of stuff to do. There's not really a lot of chance to be bored and not know what to do, but you know you have to go from point A to point B. So this is part of this. What are you going to do in the meantime? Marathon runners, they have to have a process in place of what they are going to do in the meantime while they are getting to their goal. They don't just get in a car and drive there and then say they accomplished the marathon. No, they have to go through the process. Same thing with this. We have to go through it, and time only goes so fast, and it goes the same speed for everybody. So realizing that time is going to go at the same speed, we can't hurry this up if we actually want lasting results, because that's what gave us the yo-yo dieting in the past. When we want to hurry it up, I want to get the 30 pounds, the 60 pounds, 100 pounds off my body. Speeding it up did not help because we didn't have the habits in place, we didn't have the lifestyle in place, and so we went right back to the way it was. So speeding it up is not the solution. So how are we going to get through this? What are we going to do in the meantime? So one thing we can do in the meantime is to have a gratitude list. And if you have a gratitude list while you're losing weight, this can also help with the moods, help with your motivation, help with your grief. It can help with a lot of different things. I started to make a gratitude list as I was losing weight, and then once I reached my goal, that I could be thankful for all the good things that are happening in my life. And this can help you with what to do in the meantime. You can learn another instrument. You can learn to do some art. You can take up a different sport. You can do all kinds of different things if you want. But if you also have a gratitude list, this can help you get through this journey, through this marathon, and reach the end. So I started listing a lot of different things that I was thankful for as I was losing the weight. My body measurements were changing, which meant my clothes sizes were changing. I was fitting into smaller clothes. I had fewer wrinkles. Ironically, you'd think that having more fat on your body would fill in the wrinkles, but I actually got fewer wrinkles because I was getting healthier. I got healthier and I was losing the weight. Those two things worked together, and so I got fewer wrinkles. I could actually see it for myself. Fewer ailments. So ailments, that high blood pressure that I had, the other issues that I was having fewer of them was something to be thankful for and to write on my gratitude list. Reduced inflammation. The less sugar I had in my body, the less grains I was eating, the less high carb foods, the less inflammation I had. So you might be able to go off of certain meds as you start to lose the weight. Make sure you're talking to your doctor throughout this whole process and getting other medical advice from actual doctors, but you might be able to go off of certain meds, which is going to save you money. And your moods will improve. When I started to take out sugar and high carb foods, my moods improved so much. And at that point, I was still perimenopause when I was losing those last 50 pounds of those 80 pounds, when I was really serious about it. And my moods improved. Even though I still was having my periods and having complications from that, my moods improved. So going low carb and intermittent fasting really helped me with my moods. And I still notice it now. If I bring a little bit more carbs in and I'm up past a certain level, 50 to 100 grams a day, I get moody. As soon as I drop them down a little bit, I feel much calmer. It really does impact my mood still. Learning to cook from scratch. Now, I had already known how to cook from scratch, so that wasn't a new thing, but you might have wanted to learn how to cook from scratch, and this might be the impetus, the catalyst to say, yes, this is a new way of eating that I would like, and I'm going to learn to cook from scratch, and that I can be thankful for because now I had motivation to do that. Saving money on food. Remember, I used to have a 12-year-old. I used to have an extra person on my body when I weighed 210 pounds. So I'm not feeding an extra person. So I'm going to save money on food. I'm eating less food overall. And I think about food less. I'm not thinking about it as much. I used to think that people who are slim were obsessed with their body. No, for me, it's the opposite. I'm way less thinking about my body. I'm way less thinking about food. It's just not on my mind anymore because I'm not filling up my mind with how do I get through today being obese. And it's very overwhelming and stressful. And when you aren't obese, there's so much less things to think about. It's really interesting how that's happened for me. So I'm just thinking about food less. And if you watch the cooking video, you can see how much I cook, and then I don't cook for days and days and days. So I'm in the kitchen hardly at all. It's really nice. So another thing we can be thankful for is to learn about our body and nutrition. Maybe you haven't been like me where you've been reading up on nutrition your whole life and diets and everything. And maybe now you realize, oh, this is something I actually want to put some time into, and I'm going to learn more about my body. Maybe you want to understand more about how your body works, and you can start watching all of those videos that I have on the resource page. Tons and tons of information. And that's just a tiny, tiny bit of what's out there. So you can just start to understand your body a bit more. Conquering the carb addiction habits. So understanding that I'm addicted to sugar. I can't stop eating certain sugars when they're around. And I don't like the addiction word, but it is a term that everyone's used to using. So it's like the habit and the addiction and the realization that I don't have to be addicted to it when it's not around. I'm not addicted to sugar anymore because most of it's out of my life. I've figured out ways to bypass when it would have been tempting. I almost never have chocolate in the house anymore. I don't feel I have an addiction anymore. And it's so freeing. That's one less thing I have to think about. So understanding that we can conquer that, and I'm conquering it through disciplines, through habits, and then I feel like it doesn't even exist anymore for me. And this feeling of a sense of accomplishment. I mean, this is huge. How many people do you know who've lost weight and kept it off? Very, very few people. So when you do this, when you accomplish this, it's such a huge sense of accomplishment for yourself, for your self-esteem, and then to let other people know this is doable. It's doable. So feeling that sense of accomplishment and not feeling guilty for that. I mean, be proud of it. It's something that you've conquered. You've gone through that hard journey, that hard marathon, and you're coming out the other side and you've accomplished this huge thing. So that also leads to feeling more confident. So you have a sense of accomplishment, you feel more confident, you feel more confident in your body, you accept yourself more. It's just so many things that sort of stack on top of each other to make such a better life. And the feeling of excitement and future goals. When we were talking about the dream board way back at the early lessons, that's something to be excited for and to be thankful for, that I can have these future goals. Those are some ideas for things that you can be thankful for as you're starting your journey, as you're in the middle of your journey, when you reach your goal weight, when you're maintaining the weight loss, and all of these steps along the way. So bonus 17 is while you're in your weight loss journey, being thankful in the middle of it. The gratitude journal, cultivating a thankful heart. I've listed a lot of those things that I talked about earlier, and so this is just for you to have when you download, and you can think of a whole bunch of other things, hopefully, and as you go through this journey, start writing them down. So the gratitude journal you can print off if you want, and it says, today I'm grateful for, and then you can put the date. And you can print off a bunch of these. You can also, of course, do these also in a journal booklet, and start having this practice of writing down what you're grateful for. You don't have to do this every day, but if you can start just realizing, oh, there are things that I'm thankful for, even in the middle of this change of my life, change of my habits, change in my health, change of my weight, you can still find things to be thankful for. And the more positive we are, usually the more positive things we see in the world, and it compounds in a positive direction. Just realize that there's a lot of things that we can be thankful for, even in the middle of this really hard journey that we're going through of losing weight. In our next module, we're going to talk about what to expect when you're losing weight, and our first lesson in this module is talking all about hair. So I'll see you there.